The UH-60 Blackhawk sat on the tarmac, rotors beginning to turn. The crew was loaded, the cargo secured, the flight plan filed. Captain Sarah Winters climbed into the pilot's seat, settled her helmet, and ran through the pre-flight checks. Everything green, everything ready, except her head. The migraine had started an hour ago. Mild at first, now it was building. The pressure behind her eyes, the sensitivity to the rotor noise, the nausea that came in waves. She glanced at the sky, clear, blue, not a cloud visible. But her body was telling her a different story. Viper 1, you're cleared for takeoff. The tower said over the radio. Sarah's hand hovered over the throttle. She should lift off. The mission was routine. The weather was perfect. Delaying based on a headache would raise questions again. But the migraine was intensifying, faster than usual, which meant the pressure drop was steeper than usual, which meant tower, Viper 1, request hold. Silence. Then, say again, Viper 1, request we hold for weather assessment. Viper 1, current weather is VF or clear. No systems on radar. Sarah exhaled slowly. Copy that, tower. But I'm requesting a delay anyway, in the back of the helicopter. Her crew chief's voice came through the headset. Ma'am, you okay? Sarah pressed her fingers against her temple. Yeah, just trust me on this. The tower came back. Viper 1, we need a reason for the delay. Sarah closed her eyes. This was it, the moment where she either trusted her body or ignored it. Tower, I have reason to believe. Severe weather is inbound. Request meteorology reassess. Stand by. Sarah sat in the cockpit, rotor still turning, waiting, knowing that if she was wrong, she'd never hear the end of it. But she wasn't wrong. She was never wrong. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe so you never miss these true tales of courage, and tell us in the comments, where are you watching from today? Captain Sarah Winters had been living with chronic migraines since she was 12 years old. It started during a family camping trip in Oregon. A beautiful summer day, clear skies. Then, out of nowhere, blinding pain, light that felt like needles. Nausea so intense she couldn't stand. Her parents rushed her to the emergency room. The doctors ran tests, CT scans, blood work. Everything came back normal. It's a migraine, the neurologist said. Common in adolescence. She'll probably grow out of it. She didn't. By 14, Sarah was having migraines twice a week. By 16, 3 times a week. They disrupted school, ruined plans, made normal life feel impossible. But then she noticed something, a pattern. Every migraine came before a storm, not during, before, hours before the first cloud appeared, before the wind picked up, before the rain started. She began keeping a journal, logging each migraine, checking weather reports. The correlation was undeniable. Her neurologist confirmed it. You're barometrically sensitive. Your nervous system reacts to atmospheric pressure changes. Some people are like living barometers. It wasn't psychosomatic. It wasn't anxiety. It was physiology. Her body detected pressure drops the way some people's knees predicted rain. By the time Sarah was 18, she could predict weather with eerie accuracy. A mild headache meant a light system. A severe migraine meant a major storm. The intensity of the pain correlated directly with the severity of the incoming weather. Her family started calling her their weather girl, half joking, half serious, because she was never wrong. When Sarah decided to become a pilot, everyone told her it was a bad idea. You get migraines. You can't fly with migraines. But Sarah had done her research. As long as the migraines were manageable and didn't occur during flight, she was cleared. She disclosed her condition during her medical evaluation, provided documentation, got approved. She joined the Marines, went through flight school, became a UH-60 pilot, and she was good, really good. But the migraines followed her, and so did the skepticism. Sarah's first deployment was to Afghanistan. Helmand Province. Hot. Dusty. Unpredictable weather that could turn deadly without warning. Her unit flew supply runs, medevac missions, troop transport, critical work, time-sensitive work, work that didn't allow for delays. 3 weeks into the deployment, Sarah woke up with a migraine. Severe, the kind that made light unbearable and sound feel like hammers. She checked the weather report. Clear skies, no systems on radar. But her body was screaming. Storm. Big one. Soon. She reported to the flight operations officer. Sir, I'd like to recommend we delay today's missions. Weather's going to turn. The ops officer, Major Hale, looked at her like she'd spoken another language. Captain Winters, meteorology shows clear conditions for the next 12 hours. I understand, sir, but I'm experiencing barometric indicators that suggest otherwise. Barometric indicators? Sarah hesitated. This was always the hard part. I get migraines when pressure drops, sir. Severe migraines mean severe weather, and right now, I'm experiencing one of the worst migraines I've had in months. Major Hale's expression shifted from confusion to something else. Doubt, maybe pity. Captain, I appreciate your sensitivity, but we can't ground helicopters based on headaches. We have meteorological systems for weather prediction. That was coincidence. With respect, sir, it wasn't. Hale shook his head. Missions proceed as scheduled. If you're not fit to fly, I'll assign another pilot. Sarah's jaw tightened. I'm fit to fly, sir. I'm just recommending caution. Noted. Dismissed. Sarah walked out of the operations tent knowing she'd been dismissed in more ways than one. The missions launched. 6 helicopters, all of them flying into what Sarah knew was going to be a disaster. For hours later, the storm hit. Violent, unexpected. The helicopters barely made it back. One had to emergency land at a remote outpost. Another sustained damage from wind shear. No one died, but it had been close, and Sarah had known. Hours before it happened, she'd known, but afterward, when she mentioned it to Hale, he just shrugged. Weather's unpredictable out here. You got lucky with your guess. It wasn't a guess, but she couldn't prove it, not in a way that mattered. Over the next 3 months, it happened again and again. Sarah would wake up with a migraine, check the weather, see clear skies, recommend delays, get overruled, and then, hours later, the weather would turn, exactly as her body had predicted. The other pilots started noticing. Winters called it again. How does she do that? It's creepy. Some were impressed. Others were skeptical. A few thought she had access to better weather data and wasn't sharing. But Major Hale remained unconvinced. Coincidence, he'd say every time. Broken clock is right twice a day. Sarah stopped arguing. She just flew her missions, kept her head down, and carried the knowledge that her warnings were being ignored. Then came the day that changed everything. A critical supply run, medicine and equipment to a remote outpost that had been cut off for days. The mission was urgent. Lives depended on it. Sarah woke up that morning with the worst migraine she'd had in years. Blinding, debilitating. The kind that made her vomit before she even got out of bed. She took her medication, waited for it to dull the pain enough to function. Then she reported for the mission brief. The weather report was perfect. Clear skies, light winds, ideal flying conditions. But Sarah's body was screaming. This wasn't just a storm coming. This was something catastrophic. After the brief, she approached Major Hale privately. Sir, I'm requesting we delay the mission. Hale sighed. Winters, not this again. Sir, this is different. The migraine I'm experiencing right now is the worst I've had in years. That means the pressure drop is extreme. Whatever's coming is going to be severe. Meteorology says meteorology is wrong. Sir, please. I'm asking you to trust me. Hale looked at her for a long moment, saw the pain in her eyes, the desperation, but he also saw the mission board, the urgency, the lives depending on that supply run. Captain, I understand you believe your migraines are predictive, but I can't delay a critical mission based on that. If you're not fit to fly, I'll assign someone else. Sarah's throat tightened. I can fly, sir, but I'm recommending we don't. Recommendation noted. Mission proceeds. Sarah walked to her helicopter knowing she had a choice. She could refuse to fly, ground herself on medical grounds, let someone else take the risk. But that wouldn't stop the mission. It would just put another pilot in danger. So she climbed into the cockpit, ran her checks, and prepared to launch into what her body was telling her was going to be a disaster. Sarah sat in the pilot's seat, rotors turning, the migraine pounding behind her eyes like a drum. The cargo was loaded. The crew was ready. Tower had cleared them for takeoff. Her hand rested on the throttle. Every instinct screamed at her to shut down, to refuse, to make them listen. But she'd tried, and they hadn't believed her. Viper 1, you're cleared for departure, the tower said. Sarah's fingers tightened on the throttle. She looked at the sky, still clear, still blue, still lying. Her co-pilot, Lieutenant Chen, glanced at her. Captain, you good? Sarah closed her eyes, felt the pressure building, not just in her head, in the air, in the atmosphere. Something massive was coming. She made her decision. Tower, Viper 1, request hold. Silence. Then, say again, Viper 1, request we hold for weather assessment. Viper 1, current weather is VF or clear. No systems on radar. Sarah's voice was steady, firm. Copy that, Tower, but I'm requesting a delay anyway. In the back, her crew chief's voice came through. Ma'am, what's going on? Weather, Sarah said simply. Mum, the sky's clear. Not for long. The tower came back. Viper 1, we need a reason for the delay. Sarah took a breath. This was it. The moment where she either trusted her body or let protocol override survival. Tower, I have reason to believe severe weather is inbound within the next 6 hours. Request meteorology. Reassess conditions and delay all flight operations. A long pause. Then, Viper 1, stand by. Sarah shut down the rotors, climbed out of the cockpit. Her crew stared at her like she'd lost her mind. Major Hale was already walking across the tarmac, face red with anger. Captain Winters, what the hell are you doing? Sarah stood at attention, requesting delay based on atmospheric indicators, sir. Atmospheric indicators? You mean your headache? Yes, sir. Hale's jaw clenched. Captain, you just refused a direct order to launch. I didn't refuse, sir. I requested a delay, for safety, based on a migraine. Based on data my body is providing that your meteorology is missing, sir. Hale was about to respond when the meteorologist ran out of the operations tent, tablet in hand. Sir, we just got an update from regional weather. There's a system forming rapidly to the west. Wasn't on our radar 20 minutes ago. It's moving fast, projected to hit us in approximately 5 to 6 hours. Hale's expression froze. He looked at the tablet, then at Sarah, then back at the tablet. How severe? He asked. Category indicators suggest extreme wind and potential lightning. Flight operations would be extremely hazardous. Hale was silent for a long moment. Then he turned to the tower, ground all flights until further notice. 6 hours later, the storm hit. It was one of the worst weather systems the region had seen in years. Wind gusts over 70 knots. Lightning strikes every few seconds. Visibility 0. The helicopters that would have been in the air included Sarah sat safely on the tarmac, secured against the wind. Sarah stood in the operations tent, watching the storm through the window. Her migraine had finally started to ease. The pressure had stabilized. The worst had passed. Major Hale stood beside her, silent. Finally, he spoke. You knew. Sarah nodded. Yes, sir. 6 hours in advance. Yes, sir. Hale exhaled slowly. If we launched, if you hadn't refused, someone would have died, sir. He looked at her, really looked at her, not with skepticism, with something else, respect, maybe a little fear. Captain Winters, I owe you an apology and an explanation. I didn't believe you, because pain isn't data. At least, that's what I thought. Sarah's voice was quiet. Pain is data, sir. It's just data most people don't know how to read. Hale nodded. From now on, if you report barometric indicators, we listen, no questions. Your migraines are officially part of our weather assessment protocol. Sarah felt something loosen in her chest. Validation. Finally, thank you, sir. Word spread quickly. The pilot who predicted storms with her migraines. The captain whose headaches saved lives. Other pilots started asking her for forecasts. Winters, you feeling anything today? They said it with respect now, not mockery. Sarah became an unofficial weather consultant. Her migraines were logged, tracked, compared against meteorological data, and time after time, they were accurate. She wasn't grounded. She wasn't dismissed. She was trusted, because her body had proven what science sometimes missed, that humans could be sensors, that pain could be information, that what looked like weakness could be the strongest warning system available. Captain Sarah Winters still flies, still gets migraines, still feels the pressure drops before the storms arrive. But now, when she reports them, people listen. Her condition, the thing that made her doubt herself for years, became her greatest asset, not in spite of the pain. Because of it, she learned that the body speaks in languages most people don't understand, and sometimes, the people who suffer the most are the ones who can save everyone else. Moral, pain can be information, weakness can be warning, And sometimes the person everyone doubts is the one who sees what's coming before anyone else. If this story moved you, don't forget to show your support. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe for more military and veteran stories. We bring you true tales of courage, sacrifice, and honor. Stories that remind us of the quiet strength carried by those who serve. Until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and never forget the heroes among us.